bitch, I said let go!
Hello there, and welcome to the Sonder of Aesthetics, a new YouTube series I have started where we will be discussing the history and culture of aesthetics. I decided that I'll be working on the designs of my character's magical girl outfits. The character of today's video is Ernest, our favorite goth girl. I feel like if you've already been on my channel before, you've seen her a couple times in a couple of my badly edited videos. And since it's magical girl themed, I decided I wanted to work with a little bit of goth Lolita and, all of its beauty as I talk about the history of goth and how it came to be. I'll be working on 3 designs for this video. If any of them are your favorite, please tell me which one, because then that one will be the one that I will be using the utmost in a couple of my more future videos. So please let me know down in the comments below. If I miss any information while I'm talking about subjects of goth culture and what it's about, please do let me know. I love critiquing and I have a very open mind. Thank you. All of the sources that I will be using in this video will be down below. Anyways, let's get to the video. Yippee! Now, when describing the particular style of goth, there are a couple of, items that you normally would see when we talk about goth and its subculture. Black lace, velvet, fishnets, wide-sleeved dresses, turtlenecks, pleather, faux, fur, and boots. Honorable mention to the corsets, though: gloves, chokers, garters, harness belts, piercings, veils, and tiaras. Traditional or trad, goth, as we like to call it, might be the most recognizable of these, with dyed black hair or artificial color, mohawks, backcombing, crimping, and makeup for men and women having pale skin tones, dark eyes, and lips. Long clothes and fabrics such as velvet and satin would be worn. Take Morticia Addams, for example, but also studded belts. Fishnets, leather, PVC, and latex, which is a testament to the overlapping values with punk and BDSM fashion. However, since its development in the 1980s, goth has acquired many subgenres. Some characters to look at, for example, are Janice Ian from Mean Girls, Nancy Downs from The Craft, Abby Shudo from NCIS, Morticia Addams from Addams Family, Ruby from Ruby Gloom. Now, here are just some of my, annoying icks, or just, annoying icks that, tend to happen to a lot of goth people. To be goth, you do not always have to be sad. You can be or act however you want to be, happy or sad, whatever floats your boat. Also, people like to get emo, scene, and goth mixed up all the time. Newsflash, there's a fucking difference, Jesus Christ. They are literally 3 different things.
I don't think I can do this anymore, you guys.
Also, to anyone who has ever asked an alternative person, emo person, goth person, or scene person for a wrist reveal, not even Satan will take your fuggly ass, so there is no use in telling you to go to hell. Another good question to know is, do I always have to wear black to be goth? Nope, as a matter of fact, you don't. Truth be told, you could literally wear all pink if you want. Pastel goth. It doesn't matter, because goth, before it is a fashion style or a lifestyle, it is a music subculture. Now, on to the main question, or the main subject at hand. What is goth and how did it start? Developed during the 1970s through ventures such as the Batcave, goth developed from various youth subcultures, such as punk in the late 1970s, and moved to a more commercial visibility in the 1990s. It was a phenomenon that was confined to the UK, be that there have been different joints all around the world. So technically speaking, there's no real answer as to where it all began. Gothas could possibly be one of the most noted by the popularity of the Sisters of Mercy in the 1980s and 1990s, even though the lead singer, Andrew Eldritch, rejects any association with goth. But there were many other bands which may be broadly characterized as goth, such as Bauhaus Christian Death, the Sisters of Mercy Susie, and the Banshees Fields of the Nephilim London. After Midnight Joy Division, The Cure, The 69 Eyes, She Wants Revenge. The goth scene in England centered on nightclubs in London, such as the Batcave, or in urban locations such as Leeds, La Phonographique, and Manchester, the Banshee. Underworld goth communities shed light upon the disenfranchisement of a generation under Margaret Thatcher's conservative government that they were in at the time.
I'd be glad when somebody get that hoe
and drag that bitch and beat the fuck out of her. And I can't wait. And I hope somebody do it and put it on World Star. Show that bitch. I'm sick of her.
A good example of this is when the Yorkshire flavor espoused by the Sisters of Mercy produced a t-shirt bearing the white rose, emblazoned with People's Republic of West Yorkshire. Such regional focus is also seen in the seaside town of Whitby, North Yorkshire, which started in 1994 with a group of pen pals assembling in the town made famous by Bram Stoker's novel Dracula, 1897. This then it's become a giant social event drawing in goths from across the country. Still to this day, goth is visible in a lot of our everyday media, both through those young people in the 1980s and 1990s who have since grown up and remained true to the subculture. Younger generations today who find something revolutionary in learning about the music and the clothing of goth. Now goth is said to have derived from the punk subculture. If you don't know what punk is, here is a small description of it, since if I were to go into deeper detail it would honestly make this video a lot longer than it has to be, since punk kinda is its own thing. Google says that punk is a loud, fast-moving and aggressive form of rock music, popular in the late 1970s and early 1980s. But it is also a music-based subculture that was known for their anti-establishment attitude and anti-corporation, and anti-corporate greed attitude. They also had a very do-it-themselves attitude. One example of this is their iconic crust pants that they would wear even still to this day. The Gothic aesthetic is also reflected in architecture and interior design. Gothic architecture originated in medieval Europe and is characterized by pointed arches, ribbed vaults, and soaring spires. Gothic interior design incorporates ornate furnishings, chandeliers, and other items that bring a sense of foreboding and mystery to a space. Not even gonna lie here, I would give up my firstborn child, my college tuition, my left leg, and a partridge in a pear tree to live in one of these castles. Many goths are drawn to the Gothic aesthetic because of their romantic and melancholic qualities. Gothic architecture and interior design are often characterized by a sense of grandeur, mystery, and awe. This aesthetic is often reflected in Gothic literature and art, which often features supernatural elements and a sense of the macabre. Many goths. In conclusion, the goth aesthetic is a complex and multifaceted culture that is characterized by a love of darkness, melancholy, and a fascination with death. It is a subculture that is often misunderstood, but it is one that has had a significant impact on fashion, music, and art. The first Gothic buildings were the Abbey of Saint Denis, 1135 to 1144, and the Sens Cathedral, 1135 to 1164, both created in France. I had also learned that in the modern-day community, if you are a beginner or are just getting into the goth community, you would be considered a baby bat. Nowadays, being a baby bat can be somewhat difficult due to the hostility of the goth and punk community, especially when it comes to mainstream goth and or punk fashion. In my opinion, I can see how they would get frustrated at the fact that a community that was built off of anti-corporation is or had started to become owned by corporations. It takes the meaning away, including the originality away from it all. But at the same time, everyone has their own reasoning behind why they do what they do. That doesn't exactly mean that you can't participate exactly. Now pertaining to the racism that tends to happen within these communities when it comes to gatekeeping them from other races. It doesn't matter what race or background that you come from. Why? Because goth is a music-based subculture, not a race-based subculture. It can also make it a bit difficult to want to continue being a part of these communities when you're constantly being called, you know, the P word, poser. Literally, you could wear a t-shirt of your favorite band, and someone will walk up to you and be like, oh really? Name like 6 songs from that band that you're like are your favorite. Like, as if any of you guys can just name 6 songs from your favorite band off the top of your head. I don't know. I can't. My ADHD would not let me. So, you know, it's things like that as well that tend to drive people out of the community. Anyways, that's all I seem to have, you know, information-wise pertaining to the goth community and its history. But thank you for sticking around this long to watch all of my sondor over this aesthetic, or not aesthetic, but music-based subculture, goth. If I left anything out, please do tell me. I, I really appreciate it. Thank you. And I guess you should stick around for the next video. Sonder out.